Welcome, everyone. First of all, can I just check that you can all hear me? Because, yeah, I just had some minor technical difficulties. Yeah, as you can see, I'm in a slightly different location, bit of a makeshift thing. You know, it's just been one of those weeks, hasn't it? Tyler is running late. I realized about 5 minutes ago that I signed into the wrong account, which is why you can see in this corner of the screen this rather wonderful logo, because I signed in on an email that was for the free account and not the upgraded one. It's too late to do anything about it now. Whew, chill. How's everyone doing today? I don't want it to be like I'm just treading water until Tyler gets here. So I'm going to be answering some questions because not long ago I reached 35,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and I just thought I should celebrate. Tyler and I have been planning a collab for a little bit actually. Yeah, she's on her way. So she'll probably be out of breath. It sounded like she was out of breath on the voicemail she left me. So it is quite humid here in the Netherlands. We're due a heat wave next week. And as you can see, I'm in a different location because I had a major upgrade, which is pretty cool, well, for me and for you guys, because I hope that the sound quality should be good, the camera should be good. The only thing that I haven't quite got sorted out is my backdrop, and the reason that this sparkly curtain is here is because it hides. I don't really want to show you what it hides. It basically hides a whole mess of crap. So, anyhow, Yo Ducky Duck in the upper corner, exactly, Yo Ducky Duck. Gosh, what am I even doing? That's really thrown me because it was like I was just getting ready to be set up, and then all of a sudden I was like, why is there a logo there? And it just bothered me. So I hope that today is going to be just like a casual chat with some friends. It's been kind of like a busy week for me. I kind of feel collectively everyone on my social media is going a little bit nuts. That's probably derogative, but like we're all going a bit so I just thought we'd have like a nice chat. And somebody says it looks a bit like you're in a bathroom. No, that's just Dutch houses for you. That's a radiator there, back there. So yeah, I hope that tonight will just be a chat and we can hang out a little bit, and Tyler can come on and tell you about a project that she's working on, which is very cool. And I hope that we can support that one a little bit, whether it's just sharing or whatever. So let's read some of these comments, because the other problem I was having was all the live chat wasn't coming on my streaming software. So yeah. So somebody says hi from Amsterdam. Hello. Is Amsterdam opening up places now? In the Netherlands, yeah, a lot of places are open. We never had a full lockdown. We had, what did the Prime Minister call it? An intelligent lockdown. Basically, most places stayed open. There was quite sort of social distancing. There still is social distancing in place, but it's much more relaxed. But cases have really dropped in the Netherlands, so I'm starting to feel a bit more relaxed about that. Ready Set Autism Family says hello from Florida. Hello. Somebody says it's been a stressful day. Art Wolf says it's been a stressful day. I really need this nice live stream today. Well, I hope that I can do. Maybe I should just chill, calm my voice. We could do a little ASMR kind of whispering. No, I'm not going to whisper. Don't worry. Yes, I am now laughing at my own jokes already. So it must be a Yo Samdy Sam live stream. Kai says hello from Northern England. Jeff Isabel says hi from Ontario, Canada. Seeing a few different, someone from Phoenix, Arizona. This is really cool. From Perth, Australia. So like it's all kinds of times for you guys. It's 8 o'clock for me, which, as you well know, is very, very close to my bedtime, but I stay up late just for you guys. So this is going to start out as a Q&A, and then when Tyler gets in, She's going to join us for just a chat and talking a bit about what she's been up to and her project. I made a banner actually. So she's been working on a project called Black and ND, which is Black and Neurodivergent. And it's very cool. This is the Instagram handle and the Twitter handle. I would suggest that you go check that one out. I do also have the link for a GoFundMe, but we'll talk about that one later, I think. So I have been getting a lot of questions from Instagram, way more than usual, actually. I guess maybe I've not done a Q&A for a while. I'm not sure. Maybe I had a lot of Instagram followers recently. No, I'm not sure. So I'm just going to be reading straight from the app, which is why I look so confused, because this is basically my face when I use Instagram. I'm not really very good at it. So I'm just going to... God, there are a lot of questions. I'm not going to be able to read all these questions. I'm really, really sorry. But I'll just pick out the ones that are easiest to answer. I don't know. Who else have we got? Someone from Indianapolis, someone from Velsen Nord, a lot of Dutch people tonight. Hello. It's kind of exciting this week. My son, we speak English in the house. My son's actually he started speaking Dutch. So what did he say just now? It's like literally the last few days, suddenly the Dutch has come. So I'm really excited about that. He said something is gevallen. Like he was using that, like the bike fell over kind of thing. So that is exciting. Noor says, Sam, you said next time you are a morning person. Explain. I don't get that. Like you wake up energetic. No. I wake up less tired. Like basically by the end of the day, I am completely spent. So in the morning, if I've had a good night's sleep, like it takes me about 30 to 45 minutes to wake up. But on the other hand, my son generally gets me earlier. My son gets me up earlier than I would like. So if I was allowed to wake up at between 7 and 7:30 naturally, then I would be a morning person and I'd be like, hey, yeah, sure. Not energetic, just fine. Like well rested. That's not a Sam you see often. So let's have a look at some of these questions. I can't read out people's usernames because I can't seem to make it work. And a lot of these people have non-English usernames. I just have no chance. So I'm just going to read the question and preserve anonymity. So the first question we have is, can autistics learn how to make conversations and keep them flowing? And I think the answer to that is probably yes. It takes a lot of effort though. And so I guess the keeping a conversation flowing with another person is a two-way street. You know, this whole idea of communication, this isn't just our responsibility to maintain a conversation, right? Other people are participants in the conversation. So I think that we can, and I think that a lot of autistics who mask teach themselves how to do that. And so somebody I know actually, he said like a strategy that he uses was just ask people about themselves and have a kind of stock of questions to ask about themselves, because people love to talk about themselves. They really do. And I've definitely done that before in the past when I'm really nervous. I don't know what to say. So, you know, I ask about the other person. Keeping them flowing is difficult, but I think that is all, it's the same thing. It's like when I'm talking to other autistic people, sometimes, not all the time, but generally I find that easier than talking to neurotypical people. So learning how to make conversations and keep them flowing is either a question of talking to people who have the same interests as you, and therefore you can both kind of talk back and forth. Like, for example, when I talked to someone about Buffy, you didn't think I was going to get through a live without mentioning Buffy, did you? When I talk to someone about Buffy, like we can talk about it forever because, you know, that's a flowing conversation. But that's not really what, you know, well, when you think of conversation, that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about a conversation. It's like, hi, how are you? How are the kids? I don't know. I don't like small talk, but that's okay. The important thing is to find some people that you have a connection with. That was a very long answer to one question. I'm going to have to go faster on this one. You guys are all in chat. How many people are we on? We're on 175 people. That's cool. Hello, everybody. Diddly Bop says, "Oh my God, love Buffy. She's one of my favorite fictional role models." And yes, you have a much greater chance of getting your selection, your comment selected if you mention Buffy. Oh, we have a super chat. Thank you so much. From Miroslav Hundak. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. Congrats on 35k subs. Thank you so much. It's really exciting. At the beginning of the year, as in like, I don't know if you saw the video I made it in December, right at the end of December, and I was very like grumpy and like, what is the point of this? And I'd been very focused on getting all these numbers, and then I was like, well, what's the point? But I'm now just thinking like, you know, just keep growing, keep spreading messages and a message of joy and light. So thank you so much. That's really sweet of you. Yeah, I'll pick out the Buffy ones. Oh my gosh, we really hope Tyler gets here soon, don't we? Right. So let's do some more questions. Yeah, I was actually filming today for next week's video, so I am really, really tired. And I'll talk about that video a little bit later. So, God, do you know what? Like this distraction, I'm reading all the comments here. I've got all the questions here, and I'm like, have you ever had harmful stims? If so, do you still do them? This is healed. This is probably the most, I don't know if you can see. Well, it's healing. A couple of days ago, this was like, it was bleeding. That's probably the most harmful stim is the picking, which I'm trying to. Before Corona, I was using nail wraps, which were really helping with nail biting and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, this is probably not hygienic because it's like plastic essentially. And so I stopped, and then I started biting them again. So yeah. And also all the hand washing, of course, makes it dry out. So that's a really harmful stim. I used to also bite the inside of my cheeks a lot, and bite my lips a lot. And so in the winter, I would be applying Vaseline every 5 minutes. It wasn't good. So yeah, I'm like those really, really nervous, fidgety ones. I've never had any like harmful, like violent harmful, like banging my head, although sometimes when I do have meltdowns, but meltdowns, I don't really think meltdowns are not the same as stimming. I don't think that's kind of different. So I guess the answer is kind of. What to do? Oh, God. I think maybe this is a question for later. What to do with the overwhelming anger about all the evils in human society? Whew. We're really getting into this one. Focus on the good. Focus on the good. That's I think people are not fundamentally evil. I think that people are selfish, and selfishness manifests as evil. And I think people are scared, and the selfish and scared combination makes people do evil things. But I actually am starting to think that there's no such thing as an evil person. There's just, what are the lyrics to that song from Frozen? It's the one with the trolls. You guys will probably know this before me. The song's called Fixer Upper, and I'm just tearing at my head. People make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed. Throw a little love their way and you'll bring out the rest. Did I just get demonetized? I guess we'll see. So yeah. John Irving, I assume not the John Irving, but you know, can't do anything about society's evils, only ourselves. That's very true. Hello, Purple Ella. everybody say hi to Purple Ella, because last time I was on her live chat, I was just like making silly comments and everyone's like, hi Sam, hi Sam, hi Sam. I'm like, oh. So I'm sorry if I didn't reply to you on that chat. I got overwhelmed. So somebody asks me, what are your special interests? And I am the sort of person that has special interests kind of on and off a little bit throughout my life. I guess the thing that I'm most interested in, that has been since, well, probably since I was mid to late teenager and up until now, is psychology. I think psychology is fascinating. I think the way people work is fascinating, and that is apparently very common for autistic people to be interested in. So I kind of wonder how many of my friends from university or peers from university were actually autistic as well. But what was the question again? Special interests. Yeah, so psychology, and it's not really a special interest. It's just something that I'm really, really interested in. Okay, it's a special interest. Buffy. I just finished a rewatch of Buffy. What other special interests do I have? So before I started this YouTube channel, I went through about a year when I had a small baby, and I was watching a lot of YouTube where I just was like, I kind of want to start a YouTube channel. So I sort of learned everything about YouTube and from all the gurus and stuff like that. So the kind of YouTube and SEO and analytics, that sort of thing, how it all works, how, yeah, a little bit about marketing, that kind of stuff has got me very interested. And that's probably why my channel's done quite well, because I focused on that as well as focusing on the content. So what other special interests? My special interest in my early 20s was atheism, like the new atheism stuff. And I kind of moved away from that whole scene because it became kind of problematic and it sort of very right-leaning. So that was something that I was very interested in for a while. I am quite interested in the concept of hallucinogenics. I think they're very interesting, but I haven't got into that one because I don't have any time, but I would like to learn a lot more about that. Yeah, what are my special interests? Parenting. That sounds very strange, but actually the person who diagnosed me, she said it's very common. Apparently, she sees a lot for autistic women when they become mothers to be very into parenting. And so it wasn't like I read a book and then I'm like, well, I'm prepared now. I read all the books and I read all the apps. And when I was pregnant, every single day I would check up on the development of it was all a bit weird. And so, yeah, parenting and like child development and stuff, but that ties into psychology and kind of science and stuff like that as well. I see that Tyla has just joined us, so I'm going to give her a little bit of time to check in and like catch her breath a bit, because I think she's just run home from the shops or something. So let me do another question and I'll give her a chance to like catch her breath a bit. Have you had experience with comorbidities? I have ASD, ADHD, PTSD, ED, which I think is eating disorder, anxiety, crying face. Yes, I have. So when I was a teenager, it was depression. And then in my early 20s, I had a head injury. And as a result, suffered, I was never officially diagnosed with PTSD, but it was recognized as PTSD symptoms. It took about 9 months to a year for me to go back to feeling like, normal for me. But after that, I became prone to anxiety. And so that's when I kind of started anxiety. And now I feel like I struggle more with anxiety than with depression, but that's for various reasons, which I don't think I have time to get into now. Comorbidities, I'm starting to get to the point where I almost feel confident enough to self-diagnose with ADHD, but I still, I tell people self-diagnosis is valid. And then when it comes to me, I'm like, oh, couldn't possibly. Oh my. So I definitely have ADHD traits. And I have people emailing me constantly going, yeah, I think you do have ADHD, which is really great, first of all, for my self-esteem. But also just like, okay, other people see it in me. It's the energy, I think. It's like I get really hyped up, especially it's like a performance. Right, so that was the end of that question. I think it might be time to check in on our guest. Now, I didn't get a chance to test it out, so I'm really hoping that everything is set up. But let me just add to stream. Let's see if I can do this. All right, let's welcome Tyla. Yay!
There you go, it worked.
Hi. Now, I'm not sure whether I can't hear you or whether nobody can hear you.
It could be. Can you?
So people say, let me know if you can hear Tyla.
Let me check. Oh wait, I know what's happening. Oh, wait,
I can't hear you at all.
I know what's happening. It's all right. It's all right. What's that?
Good.
No, it's fine.
Can anyone else hear her? Because
there we go.
I can't.
Can you hear me now?
I actually don't know if this is even working.
Is that any better?
We can hear her. Oh no. That means that's my problem. All right. Well, how about... Oh no, this is going to require some unplugging, isn't it? Do you know what, Tyla? I've had technical difficulties tonight.
So have I. I've had them all week, and I'm surprised my internet's even working.
All right, you know what?
Right
I'm going to just take myself off. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody? No, just give me 15 seconds because I need to read.
Okay, it's all right. I've got this. I've totally got it.
I can't even hear you, but it's funny. Okay, I'm just going to go for like 15 seconds.
Hi, I'm Tyla. I feel like I'm shouting, but I don't know because I've got these like earphones in and I don't usually wear them. And I live in a house and you can hear everyone if you shout. So let me take one out a second. Am I shouting? I'm quite loud. Mercury retrograde, right? So I saw a tweet and I was like, it said Mercury and I didn't want to read the rest of it because I didn't want to know if we were in retrograde or not. Because every time we're in retrograde, everything just goes wrong. And then, I make YouTube videos, by the way, in case you didn't know. Autistic Tyla on Instagram and YouTube and Twitter. But yeah, the retrograde. So I saw the tweet that began with Mercury and I was like, oh my God, I'm hoping we're not in another retrograde. And then I saw something on Instagram today that was like, we're in a retrograde. I was like, damn. And then it explains a lot. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Oh, this is fun. So much fun. How you doing? You're right. Now I can hear you.
Right. So never simple, is it? I left the house with like a load of time, but forgot I had returns to do. And then I thought I had like Amazon and random shop one. So I was like, right, they'll both be in the town centre because it's like a big town. Everyone thinks I can just drop everything off there. No. Left. I had to go one way for one thing and then the other way for another. And it was like an extra hour. Well, no, it was half an hour. I'm not going to exaggerate. But then get home, get back. And I was like, because I'm applying for jobs at the minute. And had an interview on Tuesday. Was it last? Yeah. But this is the thing. The woman knows. Well, I mean, she kind of like, anyway, didn't get it.
Okay.
I found it. So I'm just like processing that because I literally opened the email just before I jumped on. I was like, why did you do that? But I saw it and I was like, I don't want to sit here constantly thinking about what was on that. But like,
yeah. Well, I don't know what you said about when I was plugging my thing in, but I just had a look at your GoFundMe and you've just reached the goal.
It.
So for those of you who don't know, did you mention it in the little intro or not yet? So Tyla's been kind of like setting up, I guess, an organization called Black and ND. Hold on, let me get my banner. There you go.
Oh,
yeah.
The preparation.
I know, like 10 minutes of preparation for this one. So this is the Twitter and the Instagram handle, I believe. Black and ND. I spelt it right, yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about what this organization is for and what you're trying to do.
It was basically if you've not known, then I don't know what you've been doing in the past like 3 weeks. But now that the Black Lives Matter movement is picking up a bit of steam and like changes are being made, and a lot of organizations have started to look inward and realize that they're not doing enough. So I was just sat on Twitter waiting, sat on Instagram waiting, just looking at my inbox waiting for a newsletter for anything from any of the autism, or just, I think I'm like dyslexia, because they're my two conditions. And any of those organizations should just say something or do something, or just, you know, they've got 1,000,001 hotlines lined up for COVID, but not a single one to support any of your like Black people that you help. Like, is what we're going through at the minute is pretty traumatic. And there is like helplines and stuff for people who are neurotypical, but the chances of getting put through to someone who understands, especially, well, I'm going to say especially autistic people, because like the way we communicate is very different. Like, I don't think my dyslexia has any bearing on how I socialize. So there was just nothing, and I was like, okay guys, this is great. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just doing it myself then. So Black and ND was set up in response. Just it made me look at the rest of their services as well. Like, there are cultural differences in between, like how neurodiversities just aren't accepted. Like, I get they're not accepted by wider society, but in my household and many others, if your child has a difference, it's just, you don't talk about it. Like, and like mental health is only just like, it's not that we're behind, as in like I'm talking about the Black community. It's not that we're behind the general social consciousness. It's just there are still reasons as to why we don't identify. Like, I realized within myself, one of the reasons I don't what's the word? It took me so long to identify with my neurodiversity is because sometimes being Black's hard enough. And it's like, I don't want to then have the extra layer of, oh yeah, I'm autistic too. Like, I get into a workplace and it's like, oh, thank frig, I've got a job. And then I don't want to then go to my employer and be like, hi, I'm about to make employing me a little bit more difficult. Can you do this, this, and this for me, please? Yeah. So it's just like long. But the whole point of Black and ND is to the fund is to offer grants for assessment for those who aren't in the education system anymore, because it's just really hard to do. So
so what age group are you kind of aiming at? Because you said young people. I wasn't sure what kind of ages you meant.
We're going for so if this thing probably like 18 plus, but if they're still in education, so if they're like college or uni, then we'd advise them on how to go through that route and get spoken through to, because as teachers there's enough structure in place in educational institutions to help. We can support you with that. But when you're outside of that and you've got to go through your GP, you've got to get referred and all this stuff, like, it's long and it is hard. And like there's like, I don't know if you've like seen, but there's loads of stuff going about explaining the like racial inequalities in the health system. And that makes getting believed by a GP even harder than it is just to be believed if you're a white person. And I understand that is also hard. And then months and months on waiting lists once you're believed. It's just, So that's what the grants are going to be for assessments and screenings, and then post-diagnosis support in terms of like group sessions, just being like, right, you're different, let's help you out. This is what you're going to have to do. And how to work the world.
Is that something that you're hoping to do in real life or online, or how is that going to be run? Or have you got like other people to help you? Or
oh fuck yeah, I need other people with this.
Tyler, getting me demonetized every time you drop the F-bomb.
Sorry, I'll try and hold them back. God, yeah.
I'm going to donate the ad revenue from this to Black and ND. So it's all right. I'll probably make like 15 euros or something, but I'll put it in the pot as well. So I really appreciate you coming on and helping me out with my Friday night, because it gets lonely talking to myself.
I don't know how you do it. I did one the other day and I was just like, I am rambling and rambling and rambling.
Yeah, a lot of rambling. It's very exhausting because it's like, it's like putting on a one-woman show and there's no audience feedback.
There's no response.
Yeah, exactly. So what was I going to say? So the fundraiser, you were raising £7,000, and it's just like, I went to it. It's on 7,000. So awesome.
Yeah,
congratulations. Like, where are we going from here? You need to start planning, or
Yeah. So obviously it's getting its own, like I need to set up the business side of things, and I need to find like just do loads of things around that. But in terms of the next steps, the initial sessions are going to be intro to the different neurodiversities and let people just make sure they know what they think they have, because there's one thing you can get from a Google search, but it's different having a professional or an assessor there, so you can just ask them the questions, and following on from that, we'll send out some like online screenings for them to do if they haven't done them already. Then step 2 would be the assessment, grants and diagnosis, and then step 1 and 4 are kind of, we can help a lot of people with those because they'll be online for the minute, and then when we can do some in-person workshops, but so they'll be kind of open to anyone, kind of global as well, if people want to jump in from from not in the UK, because the information doesn't really change depending on where you are at that stage. But the
paths are different. Yeah.
So when it comes to now, I'm sure I would like an assessment, then that's when we'd offer the grants and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got a lot of work to do.
That's cool. And it's amazing that you just did it. Like, you got it done so quickly. I was like, wait, she started an organization. Where did this happen? Yeah, I was a bit like, have I just not been paying attention? It's just, it really did happen quickly, but that's great, because you, in some ways, you capitalized on the momentum, and everybody's like feeling it, and everybody wants, well, within my social bubble, everybody seems to want to do something. And so I think it's a great time to work on that and get that set up, in terms of like, everyone's got their wallets out, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's been good as well, because I was expecting to hit the goal eventually, but I just didn't really have any expectations as to how quickly. And I think the fact it has happened really quick is a sign that, like, not only is the need there, because I've had like messages of people like, can you please let me know when like sign-ups go up for this, that and the other, but also that like there is a lot of people in the community that do care, and that have also noticed that there isn't the support that we need, which is, it's kind of good and bad in a sense. Like, it's good in the fact that, okay, you can see it too. It's not just like me, it's not just other Black people seeing that we're not being catered for, but it's the fact that, like, if you've seen it and you've known it, why have you not said anything before? Yeah, because we could have changed it, but I guess we've just got to deal with the position we're in now, and people want to help now, so we'll just move forward with that.
So just going back to the kind of, like, you mentioned, you basically alluded to kind of the stigma within the Black community about not just autism and, neurological conditions, but also mental health. Where does that come from? Do you have any idea of, like, why is that? Just like, is there a cultural aspect? Where does it come from that it's almost like you don't want to be perceived to be a weakness? Is that correct? Or
there's kind of from what I've experienced and been around, I guess there's kind of two things that I've picked up, like, because I'm Caribbean, so my family are from Jamaica, and it's mental, like, just like emotions and mental, I don't know, this could have just been my family, but emotions and like mental health and stuff like that, it was just, you just don't talk about it. You just get on with things, just get things done. And especially then being immigrants, which is essentially what we were during Windrush generation. So that's when my grandma and her great granddad and stuff came over. It was always just work, get it done. Like, there was just, your problems aren't problems, sort it out, was kind of the mentality. So not great, but I think things are changing. Like, the more my generation and like the generation above me, the more we talk about things and educate our parents, like, what it actually is, what it actually means. And because they go through these things as well, like, they have, like, everyone has mental health, so everyone has mental health like issues, or not has issues, but has susceptibility to have mental health issues. So it's like, it'd be crazy to think that these problems only started with our generation. So
yeah, of
it's
course.
just getting them to think
But it
like,
was
yeah,
just
like,
everybody suffered in silence.
yeah.
I mean, you know, talking as openly as I do, because I think I don't know, I do stuff on the internet, and everyone's like, wow, you're so brave, you're so open. I'm like, well, I'm an open book in that respect. But me doing that, actually, it allows other people to start saying, oh yeah, I kind of felt that way when I was younger. Like, I don't know if you had conversations with your family, like older members in your family, saying like they relate to you or something like that.
My family don't know I make content.
Oh, okay, right. I didn't know that.
They know,
Yeah,
but
not
I
really.
don't think no one cares. Like, I mean, no one donated to my fund. Like, I've sent, like, I met, you know, when you're having conversations with people and you mention something, if they don't pick, like, I'll mention it, and if you're not going to ask me about it, I know you don't care, because this is a very, like, odd thing to do. Like, this is a talking point in a conversation. Like, I know how this works, and if you cared, you'd ask, and they just don't.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's one of those as well, because it is something that, especially making like videos and even doing this fun, like putting so much time and energy into it, and I'm quite proud of the content sometimes, and like if someone else turns around and they're just disinterested, it's a bit like hurtful. So I'd rather not put myself in the position to be hurt by them not caring than constantly seek their like approval or whatever. And
sure.
It's kind of not there to help them anyway, because they're not autistic, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, sure. James Oakley just said, they might not care, but we do, Tyler. So
thanks, James.
I'm just trying to like find any comments to maybe Voldemort said, stiff upper lip is definitely a British thing. Now I don't believe that to be the case, because I think what you described with this, like, don't have emotions, just like, I don't know, why am I talking about Frozen? Conceal, don't feel, like, you know.
Yeah, like I kind of go on.
Sorry, you go.
No, it's because I thinking about it even more in detail now. Like, I've been in positions where I've not been like, okay, take this. I used to get in trouble a lot in school, but I never used to sit there and like cry at the situation. Like, I'd be sat in front of the head teacher on the bridge of being excluded, a situation that would make pretty much every other child in that school cry. It was an all-girls school, everyone was quite emotional. Honestly, it was bad. Like, you'd have groups of girls whose periods had synced, so they.
I was just going to ask that, actually.
It happened. So it got to a point where I'd just sit in her teacher's office, just like ready for her to give me whatever like punishment. And if I'd have cried in that situation, it wouldn't have made a difference. To whereas I know for a fact that my like peers, which were I was one of five black girls in a school of 1,000, and they'd literally come out of their whatever situations they'd have with Beaver, which is their teacher, and be like, I just cried and she let me off. Like, I tried that. My tears don't work for some reason. And
is this like a kind of, what do they call it, like white woman tears thing?
Or yeah, weaponizing tears. Like, I mean, if you can use it, do it. Like, why not? But it's just, I don't have that card to play. And there's this stereotype of being like, because I'm loud, but I don't think it's not because I'm trying to be loud. It's just in my nature. I'm just loud. And I don't know if
so Northern. I mean, like, sorry, I'm like throwing shade at Northerners now. Like, that's okay, right?
Yeah, but it's a Northern thing.
I'm gonna get cancelled for this.
Where we are. No, like, but but I'm still up north, so around other Northerners, I'm still loud. And then it's like, again, going to like quite a reserved school, like, I'd just stick out, but I'm not. What was I going? I was going with that. Look, there's the trope of like the angry black woman, or just like the loud black people and all this stuff. Yeah. It's like, I'm pretty sure my loudness is because of like my volume control inability. Like, I don't know how loud I am. Not that I think that I'm being loud.
Yeah.
And then in terms of being angry, I'm just loud. Like, I'm like, I sound like I'm shouting when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm whatever. Like, my passion.
The angry thing. That's like. Anger. you know, you treat people like they are not human for hundreds of years. Like, don't expect them not to be angry about that. So it's like gaslighting. It's like you do something awful to someone and then they react and you're like, well, there's no need to get so angry about it. And it's like, there is a need for anger right now. And tone policing is kind of like shutting down a lot of the conversations. Because like at the end of the day, oh no, my feelings get hurt because like I said the wrong thing or whatever, but like that doesn't matter. Like, and that's, at least that's something that I've really realized is like, it actually doesn't matter. I can say the wrong thing, whatever, but the important thing is to do something and to keep going and not be paralyzed with fear that I'm going to like use the wrong word or, you know, refer to people as people of color and people prefer black. Like, okay, you learn from your mistakes and you move on, but like, don't let that stop you. And like, I'm trying not to let that stop me. I'm kind of like a perfectionist. And I also really like, just don't want to offend anyone. And it's like, but
at this point, it'd be hard to do.
I know. I just wanted to mention a super chat from Mel. Thank you so much, Mel. That's really generous of you. And Mel was somebody who was like, I really want you to talk about intersectionality and stuff like that on your channel more. So like, I hope that we're still on for a collab at someone, like a more structured collab. Yeah.
I was like, are you talking to Mel? Are you talking to me?
Yeah, no, we collab with some commenters. No, I know Mel. She's in my Discord. So no, she was very keen that I kind of broached the subject, and I was a bit like, oh, I don't know, but no, I'm just gonna stop being a whiny baby. So let's see what more comments. I'm supposed to be doing a Q&A, and I'm just like,
oh, what else have you got from ID?
We've got a few. Right. Let's go for this one. Do you? Sorry, this is worded funny. Do you feel the need to fill in any gaps in your social skills or thinking? How would you know? Like, do you feel the need to kind of improve yourself? Something like that.
Who's going first, me or you?
I don't know. Do you have anything to say or do you need more time?
Yeah. No, I do.
Okay, go on then.
I'll go. So I've gone from feeling like I need to make changes in my social circles because they don't look like what everybody else is doing, because they don't look like what everybody else is do or does. But to realizing that there are times when I want to change how my social situation, like circles and things, look like because I'm not happy or I'm not fulfilled. So it can go either way. Like sometimes I'm doing too much, like I'm trying to meet this person, that person, do that, go there. And that's just unsustainable for me. Like the amount of burnouts and the amount of like chaos that'll cause to my routine, I need to dial that all the way down. Or other times I've been like a whole month and I've not seen anyone, I've not done anything. Like even during lockdown, like you can still FaceTime people or like make arrangements, like just do whatever you got to do. And I just didn't do anything. So I feel like it's totally fine to want to, but it has to be because you want to be for you rather than because your social setup doesn't look like what you think. For me, like a 23-year-old social setup should look like because mine doesn't, and I don't care. Like I'm happy with the way it is most of the time.
That was my problem in my early 20s, actually, was what you described. Like, I was like, well, this is what I'm supposed to be like at university, so I'm going to be like that. And it was like clubbing and like drinking and being this kind of like almost caricature. And it was just like, I don't know. I just feel really sad for myself back then.
Yeah,
you know?
I regret that I did the same.
Miserable. So, you know, have I felt the need to fill in gaps? I mean, yes, throughout my teenage years, that's exactly what I did. I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I used TV and not really film, just TV shows. And that was like my study, you know, like sat in my bedroom watching Dawson's Creek because apparently that's how you learn about life.
You know, I joined, I think, because when I was I got to 13 and I was like, right, this isn't on. Like I didn't have any friends and stuff. And I was like, I've got to do something about it. I was looking for like youth clubs and stuff like that. And I ended up joining cadets. So I was an air cadet, which is like the baby Royal Air Force. And I was one of them from like 13 to 18. And that was my socializing. Yeah, and twice a week.
That was probably quite good though, because it's very structured.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
It like tells you the rules and it tells you exactly what you need to do to be like in the club, right?
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at how do you do somebody. Well, some of these questions are quite similar. How do you deal with overload? Do you have ways to prevent it happening? She didn't specify sensory, but just overload.
Yeah, what type? Yeah.
Well, I mean, sensory overload is like your tools are your, earplugs and headphones and sunglasses and these kind of things. Overload in general? Just prioritize, for me, prioritizing rest and self-care, and like not just in a I'm gonna have bubble bath kind of way, but just like I need to sleep more, like I need to take that nap. It's generally about sleep.
I think for me, sensory overload, just know what caused the problem, and
sometimes that's hard though, isn't it? Like
working
out the trigger.
I had this. I had something the other day. I think it was I had a headache because I was sat by my window. So my desk had been facing my window for the past week, and in the evening I just didn't feel right. And then I realized it's because I'd moved my desk, and I had like daylight, like harsher light on me rather than looking at a white wall. And then so that was like a week of pain for no reason. Then in terms of what was the other overload we mentioned? Oh, general. Just learning to say no, setting some boundaries, doing you. At the end of the day, I've always had this thing if you overextend yourself for someone else, you're the one who's got to pick up the pieces. Like they're not going to be there once you're trying to sort yourself out, so it's probably not worth it. And if they're not understanding enough to know that you can't do it because it'll have an implication on you, then they weren't even worthy of you pushing yourself to that extreme in the first place.
That's kind of a pattern that I have in friendships, and I think it was Asperger's from the Inside did a video on this kind of like pattern in friendship where you, like you said, you overextend yourself, and I did it as like a people-pleasing way, because like if I do loads of really nice things for people, they'll be my friend and they'll do nice things for me. But of course that never happens, does it? So no.
I'm like it's really hard though. Like I'm trying at the minute to stop doing those like things that I know I just do. So like I'm moving house at the end of the week, and I get that when you move, you're supposed to get moving presents, but I wanted to get my friend a moving present for me, and I'm just like, it's not how that works. But it's stuff that I know that he likes, so I was like, let me just make him a little thing, and I was like, Tyler, stop.
Is that your what do they call it? Your love language? Do you know about that one?
Yeah. No, because I think maybe
like there's giving presents.
What are the other ones?
Physical affection, compliments.
Well, I'm bad at compliments, so it can't be that. I'm really bad at giving and receiving. I can no, I'm just bad with compliments all around. Maybe it is.
I can do compliments, but I can't make it sound genuine. So I'm like, you are pretty and have nice hair, and I'm like, okay, but that sounds like I'm saying it fakely.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just concentrating so much on saying the words that I forget to concentrate on the tone of voice. Although now, like, it's so hot in this room, like it's ridiculously hot. I'm like absolutely sweating.
I honestly could not relate it as chucking it down here.
Well, it's going to be a heat wave next week, so let's get some more. What are people saying? Am I even? Oh gosh, I'm behind on these.
I've got one down here. Do you want me to read that while you're looking for more?
Yeah, sure.
Can you read body language and facial expressions? Yeah, that one.
I've heard that autistic peoples, autistic people can't, but I can, and I'm curious about it. Should I go first, or what?
Yeah, go on.
Body language, no. Facial expressions, yes. I kind of taught myself, but the body language stuff never makes sense to me. Whereas facial expressions, I'm quite good at, but I never understand why. So I will see the smallest thing. If they're like, oh, are they not interested? Like, I will recognize that tiny flash, but I'll be like, but why? And of course, it'll be like something that I've done, rather than, oh, maybe they're checking their watch because their husband's running late or something like that. So that's kind of that's how I sit on that. How about you?
Kind of similar, because I pick up on vibes quite well. So I'm guessing that would be, but I don't notice body language in a sense. Like, I don't, because I think maybe that's because I don't like bodies. I don't like people. Like, I like I think when people sit next to me, I'm just a bit like, so maybe I don't know if that's.
I'm just laughing because I'm really relating to this. So.
Yeah, like it was hard growing up as well, because when like you go through that stage when you go to like sleepovers and everyone's sat on each other doing each other's hair. I'm like, don't touch me, don't come near me. You go there, I'll sit here. Yeah. And then like wasn't invited back, ended up not having that many friends. Wonder why. But facial expressions, I am the same. Like in conversation, I can pick up on them. But if it's a situation where something's going wrong, or if someone's angry with me, then I have to ask, like, I don't have to, but I just do. It falls out and try and catch it. The words run away. I'm just like, you look angry, what's wrong? Like, I guess, but then maybe that's the second part of it. Like, I can read the language, but then I can't do the social side, which is understanding what's going on here.
Yeah. And like, I understand, like, I'm very, very sensitive to vibes. And like, I think that's where the social anxiety comes from for me. Because I'm just like, there's a weird vibe in this room, and then I can't just have a conversation with the people because I'm like, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
And that's ruined friendships before, so lucky me. Right, let's see. Are there any other questions here? Somebody's going to watch Buffy. Purple Ella's going to go watch Buffy. This is a good one. Does stimming from other people irritate you? Do you know any other autistics in real life?
No. No, there was a guy in work who, well, this is the thing. Like, if you use stimming as a direction of like excess energy when you're like doing so I do it when I'm working. And there was a guy I used to sit next to in work who wasn't autistic, but he would tap his like leg under the desk. Annoying. The whole desk would shake. Yeah. So if you want to class that as a stimming, even though he wasn't autistic, then I guess in that case, yes, it's annoying. But it was just inconvenient. Like, the whole desk was shaking. I don't know whether that's because I was literally, I don't know whether we're just on some kind of like wavelength here, but I was literally in my head thinking like, it's the leg shaking thing that annoys me. But I don't know if that's stimming. I mean, like, what other... a lot of stimming like is hair related, like for women especially. That doesn't annoy me. Like, it's your hair, play with it. Like, I think it's just if someone else's movement then impact my being. Yeah. So like, no, it doesn't. You do you. It's fine. To be honest, I think it probably could irritate me if I'm just like in a really bad mood. Like, I think if I'm in a mood, like the last couple of days, I was probably, what did you say, Mercury retrograde or something? Or, as I like to call it, PMS to the max. I was like driving my son to the playground, raging at every stupid driver on the road. And then I'm like, I get to the millionth stupid driver on the road. I'm like, maybe I'm the problem. What do you say to someone who says we're all on the autistic spectrum? I've done a video on this, so you get to answer this. What do I say? I actually, you know what? Sometimes you just got to leave people to be like to be silly. If you have the energy and the capacity to explain to them all the things that are wrong with what they've just said, then go ahead and do it. Say whatever you would say. I think, what would I say in that situation? I would say, though you may experience some of the traits that autistic people do, you don't, what's the phrase? I think it was something to do with regularity and like how much they impact your life or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember, it was worded so well, but that's essentially what it was saying, that like you don't, it doesn't make it difficult for you to live. So go away.
Somebody shared a blog post that I read recently, which I thought was a really, really interesting concept. So if you imagine like the neurotypical universe, or like the neurotypical world is a planet or something, and autistic people are basically like what they call moons, like they're around them, like, so
Yeah.
a neurotypical person can like jump off their planet, and they're like a little bit further out, but just by jumping off their planet, their feet leave, that doesn't make them a moon. Does that make sense? I really like that metaphor. I think that was quite nice. It sounds a bit like oh no, never mind. I couldn't actually remember, and I realized that I didn't fully remember the anecdotes. So
okay.
Oh God, I'm exhausted. We touched about this when you were talking about like diagnosis access for young Black people, but somebody asked, do you think that the lack of diagnosis in young females is or was a sexism problem?
In terms of, is it because of gender stereotypes? Probs, yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, like I think kind of the things that I touched on my video about, can't remember the name of it, did it a while ago, but just about autism in like women, you can assign some of the way that our traits present to just being a shy, timid, like it's okay to be quiet kind of girl. But then because of the way that my autism presented itself when I was younger, especially like the rage and the like, I was a boisterous girl. Yeah. But I was even the word boisterous, like it's dumb.
Boisterous.
So, yeah, like it's like it's silly. It's gendered, yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. So then that's again another reason I don't think my autism was picked up, and I was just assigned with anger management issues because I wasn't being a girl.
Yeah. That was actually a statistic also that I read like sometime in the last couple of weeks, is that Black people, especially Black women, are more likely to be diagnosed with, oh my God, what is it called? ODD, oppositional defiance disorder.
Defiance, yeah.
Exactly. So it's like essentially that's saying like that's pathologizing. You
don't want to, yeah. It's the same with I think something to do with like young Black boys as well. Like they don't want to follow the rules. It's like, I didn't want to follow the rules because you picked and choose when you wanted to apply them. Like that was my issue. Yeah. Or some of the rules just didn't make sense. Like give me a rule that makes sense and I will follow it. But it's just I think again, if you like take that even back in like history as to why we'd get that, it's because we're meant to be controlled over and we're meant to just fit in, and not even fit in, we're meant to be submissive. So if you talk out against that, then it's a whole thing.
And going back to the question, talking about the sexism problem in diagnosis, it's a problem in research and the way that they've made up the criteria as well. Is they've done some steps to rectify that with the DSM-5. So the acknowledgement of masking, which is written in the DSM-5 now, saying that people can use masking to compensate, is a step. But it still doesn't really go as far to say, okay, well, this is what autism might look like in women or transgender people or non-binary people, you know?
I think...
because it can look different, I think.
But then given what like my understanding or like how I perceive autism to be, I don't think we need to gender it at all. Like I think it'd be a lot better if we just said, these are all the ways it could look in a person. Look for this, regardless of like how how. But
I think the point that I was making is the way that it can look in like a female autistic or a transgender autistic might look different, and those kind of the less stereotypical autistic traits are being excluded. You know, I'm just trying to think of an example, and I can't think of anything. Put me on the spot there.
No, it's just even the fact that we're like more likely to mask, like that is
Yeah,
and
exactly.
more, it's deemed a more female trait. But if you just, so then my thing would be like one step further than that. Once they've accepted all the different traits we can have, just fuck off the genders altogether. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, because one of my most popular video on my channel is now autism symptoms in girls, and I I had less than 1,000 subscribers when I did that video, and it's had like it just passed 500,000 views, and I'm feeling a bit like, yeah, but like first of all, the word symptoms, I only used the word symptoms because it was a good keyword, and like,
yeah,
I kind of regret using it. Like, I didn't mean symptoms because I think it's a pathology, but yeah. And like, I just kind of regret gendering it, because so many, especially so many of my viewers, they say, well, I'm a man and I fit the girls description better.
Yeah.
So, like, I do kind of regret doing that, but like, what am I going to do now? I don't know. Just
it's a process though, and that's the thing. Like I feel like it's forgotten that we're also learning as we're making this content. So it's like, you might do a video one week and then the next week you learn something else and you're like, oh, well, not that what you've said before is wrong, but there's a better way you could have said it.
Yeah.
But then if you get bogged down on like trying to always be like perfectly like correct or whatever, like you're never going to make anything.
Yeah. And that's true of like anything, whether you're doing kind of like online advocacy or just creativity in general. If you think I'm only going to write when I have the perfect idea for a book, like it's paralyzing, you know, that fear. And yeah, that fear of doing something wrong. This question goes in quite nicely actually to what we're talking about now, and that is, do you think we need any more online autistic advocates? I don't know whether that's like a bit,
that sounds shady.
I think it was meant genuinely. Do you think we need more? No, she didn't say any. She said, do you think we need more online autistic advocates? What's missing in...
Oh, okay, so that doesn't sound as shady. See, you added the shade.
Yeah, like this is my interpretation. I'm constantly thinking that people are, you know, way more critical than they are. What's missing in the autistic community? Diversity, I guess, in a variety of ways.
I mean, diversity is missing in the world, so I mean, it'd be missing in our community. Yeah. I feel like if what's missing? I feel like it's just at very early stages. There have been some people who have been around for a while, and I don't think what I'm doing is what they're doing. So I'm trying not to say things right now.
Yeah, but like also sometimes being new on the scene is an advantage, because like you're not burnt out yet. You've still got, you know, and you've also come at a later time, because who was I talking to? One of the interviews I did on my channel was saying like the neurodiversity movement is still pretty young when compared to the like gay rights movement, for example. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's a very new thing, and it's almost, and of course the fact that autistic advocacy is done by autistic people, obviously like we want to be doing it ourselves, but on the other hand, there's a communication barrier often between us and wider society. I mean, if you look at how autism is represented, I'm not talking about like on YouTube or whatever, I'm talking about like who's being asked to speak on the BBC. It's the really big organizations are still running the narrative. Yeah, they're still the ones who are, and I don't know that we need more advocates. I mean, I guess you always need more advocates, but it's like, how do we go from, oh yeah, like there's a bunch of us on YouTube doing videos, to like we've created a movement that people are actually paying attention to, and not people that are being targeted by the algorithm, but people that like editors of newspapers and TV shows and these things are taking notice. That's the leap that I think we need to make. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
No, I definitely do. I feel like because sometimes there is a bit of a disconnect between the organizations and the actual autistic population, to have them constantly used as the voice of autistic people, it's not good, not great. And I think that the work they do is useful for some people, so they should keep doing it. But if you want to hear from autistic people, speak to autistic people, not the organizations. Or maybe autistic person who works for the organizations. Like, it's just, they're not us. Like, that's not a person. It's just like...
But it's always difficult when organizations speak for a population that is very diverse. You know, like autistic people are such a diverse population. We're all kind of different and autistic in different ways. And so it's very difficult for an organization to kind of represent everyone, isn't it?
But then at the same time, all gay or LGBTQI people are different and diverse. And there's more letters, but I forgot them. I'm so sorry.
Plus.
But they're like, on the whole, what we want is there, but it's when, the thing that annoys me is when they're being asked for an autistic person's perspective and they just send a spokesperson. Like, it's not the same thing.
Yeah. So, like, how are autistic people reacting to COVID-19? Like, a spokesperson from the, you know.
Yeah. So it's like, what?
This is me like trying to think of a fake autism organization.
Yeah, but their names are all so bait. Like, you can't, like...
Yeah, like, I don't want to talk trash about organizations that... I mean, I'll talk trash about certain organizations, but, like, I don't feel like it tonight. Yeah. Right. Blah, 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 blah. Whew. Wonder if there's any questions. I'm just losing the will to look at my little screen. Somebody said, how is autism treated versus how is ADHD treated? Well, typically ADHD is managed with medication, and autism is not.
Lifestyle changes.
Yeah, it's not. But you can be medicated, but it doesn't do anything to the autism. It does stuff to depression, anxiety, comorbidities, and stuff like that. Who is Ty and who is Sam? You'll never know. It's a mystery. That's a troll. Probably a troll. Yeah, there's more troll comments. Where's my mod? This person says, making YouTube videos would stress me out too much. Do you want to say about the stress of online advocacy and videos and stuff?
That
was really
take the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I feel like I'll just talk about my specific issue currently because there's a lot. So I'm finding that. So this is supposed to be a hobby for me, and I completely do want to be accessible in my content, and I do want it to like help as many people, and like I wouldn't want to knowingly exclude someone from it. But to then compare me to someone who's been online for years, for someone who has an established channel, potentially has a team around them, and not saying that only people who make content for people who have hearing impairments should subtitle their stuff, but like I understand that everyone should do it because it makes everything easier for a lot of people. Yeah. But like I'm in a position where just getting the video up's a lot. So for them to be expected to match their standards, you can fuck off. So sorry. Sorry. Right. I tried so hard, but it's kind of like, okay, so I've done all of this, I've put in all this work, and just because I've not done what I understand to you is a big thing, but it's also a lot of work on my end, which I will do when I have the capacity to do it. Like, would you rather me just not put up anything and stayed quiet and just not had another voice in this conversation? Because if you carry on putting comments like that out there, that is what is going to happen.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think people forget that we're people, and maybe like sensitive people, you know, and some of these things, it does affect us. And, you know, I had to stop reading the comments, and like every now and then I'll look at them, but it's really hard to deal with everybody's opinions on how you should be doing something, because at the end of the day, it's like, well, you're not doing it.
You do it then.
Do it.
Yeah,
so I'm doing the best that I can. So
that's
yeah,
the thing. Like,
yeah,
it's also have you? Oh, I had it. I think someone said something to me on Twitter, and I kind of like gave a little bit of sass. So I also have a podcast, if anyone doesn't know, but it's I release when I can.
I can link to it, but I don't know if I can do the math.
Oh no, it's all right. And
what's the name of your podcast? So people
the Adulting Autistic podcast. The Adulting Autistic podcast. There are a couple of episodes on YouTube as well, if you'd rather just watch it on there than search. But yeah, my point was that I put up something about the band fund, and someone replied saying, thanks for doing the fund, listen to your podcast. Yes, it's on Spotify. They were like, yeah, will you be including more or will you be including like Black voices on your podcast? And I just snapped back and was like, yes, I will continue to have Black like autistic people on the podcast. And I was like, I can't remember how I worded it, but I was just like, I hope you've asked your other I hope you've asked non-Black neurodiverse podcast hosts the same. Like, why is the standard I'm being held to higher than them?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I am definitely very conscious of like being more diverse with the people that I have on my channel, but like nobody's asked me that. Nobody said that to me, and it's like, why
that's
not?
The thing.
Like,
so why? I'm not being funny, but
yeah,
but by nature, every episode of my podcast is already like 50% Black.
exactly. Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying I next season. I think I've got 3 or 3 other Black people coming on, but at the same time, like, why am I being held to a standard that you've not held anyone to for the past however many years you've engaged in the community? Like, it's ridiculous.
Do you sometimes feel that because you're Black, you're kind of expected to fight? And obviously, and a woman and autistic, you're kind of expected to fight 3 corners at once. Is that hard?
I feel like there are a lot. Yeah, there are demands coming from every angle. Like, if I noticed when I was looking, I kind of done like a review of the season, and like I had a lot of women on, and then I already had planned to have like a more. I basically wanted to hear from queer autistics in the next season anyway, but it's like, what would be the issue? Because I'd listen. I mean, people might not like his work, but there was something. Actually, I'm not going to say who it was. There was something someone said, and they were like, someone criticized me for having an audience that's 97% male. What's wrong in that?
That's a very strange thing to criticize. You can't change your audience, really, can you?
Yeah, they were like, they're basically saying you should tailor your content so that it appeals to non-males more. But it's like, why, if that's who I attract, why is that my problem? Because if there is an underserved section of the community and you are part of that community, go get your camera and film something. Like, I'm not saying I'm trying to exclude people, because that's not the way it's set up.
Like,
but if
it's a bit like saying, you should be nicer. You should be nicer, and then like women would like you more, kind of thing. That's what they're saying.
But then really... it's an odd thing, like, because if you think about it, like, whoever watches your stuff is who's attracted to it. Like, unless you go out and say, this is for this type of person, that type of person, like, it's highly unlikely. There might be the odd 1 or 2, but neurotypical people don't watch my stuff. Like, what do they get from it? Because I don't explain autism in a way for them to understand. I explain it in a way for suspected autistic people or autistic people to understand. And I've kind of been conscious about that. I don't over explain things. It just takes too much time.
I feel like maybe I probably over-explain things, but that's because I'm not just trying to talk to other autistic people. Like, I am obviously serving that community, but I also kind of want some neurotypicals to learn a little bit about autism. And you have to keep explaining the same things. But that's why we need so many voices, you know, because like you're good at doing certain things and I'm good at doing other things. And some people are really good on like Twitter and some people are good on Instagram. And it's like, you know, we all have our strengths and it's not just about each individual person, you know, it's about what you offer.
Yeah. So it's just play into what we can do. And also like the different people who can see themselves in us or just align to different advocates. Like even just following people, like say we were all fashion bloggers. You follow someone whose style you align with. You don't follow them all. So it's mad that like you wouldn't criticize someone for wearing leather all the time if you were vegan and you want to follow a vegan influencer. Go and follow a vegan influencer. Like,
but I see your point. It's like don't follow people that you don't connect with. You know, find your person that you can do. Let's have a look and see if there are any more comments. Somebody said, I was thinking I haven't seen any American autism YouTubers. There is Rebranding Autism. Stephanie Bethany. Laura, I can never say her name. She got a podcast, the Not Neurotypical podcast. Stan, yeah.
Was it Zidan? I don't know, but
I was literally listening to her podcast this morning and I was like, oh, that's how you say it. Immediately forgot how to say it. Because I wasn't actually expecting to talk about this tonight. So so there are a couple. I think the American YouTuber, it tends to be more like family vloggers who have autistic kids, which I have feelings about that, especially with the whole Micah Stauffer thing, which that was all very upsetting. I don't know if you followed that at all.
I didn't get deep into it because it was going on at the same time as the Black Lives Matter wave of content. But obviously it was ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that there's obviously an element of, well, there's all kinds of things just in a tangled web. I used to watch them because before I was diagnosed, because I was like pregnant at the same time as her, and so it was all the pregnancy content, and that was how I got into a lot of the kind of, what are they called, lifestyle vloggers or whatever. But after she adopted that little boy, I'm not going to say his name because I just don't want to keep perpetuating his, you know, likeness on the internet, but they were very much like, we want to adopt a child from Ethiopia or Uganda. Like, I think this idea of like, oh, we want a Chinese
white saviorism.
It's totally like, they had that. They wanted to adopt a disabled child because it was tokenism. Like, I don't know, she had this idea of sort of being Angelina Jolie and I don't know, collecting children, but anyway, it's just awful. I'm just glad that the little boy has been rehomed and confirmed rehomed. So, and of course there was all this issues about, like, it happens to a lot of adopted kids. And I think there's a YouTuber I shared on my community tab called Cat Black or Blackray. I don't know how you say it, Cat Black. And she's adopted. And she did a whole video on this, which was really worth a look. So this guy, I'm just gonna block this person because
good job.
Comments. I finally got around to moderating this. Sorry, guys. Right, let's go down. Oh yeah, there is another. I was trying to put the comments up, but they've already gone because yeah, it's too much. So how are we doing on time, and how are we doing on questions? So this is just my question for you. What is the future of, like, you've got a YouTube channel, you've got a podcast, you're doing Black and ND, like, what are you just doing things because they feel right? Do you have an end goal? What would you like to do with all of this?
Black and ND was filling the gap and the need. And so was the start of like what is now Autistic Tyla. That at the time, like, I feel like you were the like person online that identified with the most, and there are still loads of things that are different between the pair of us. Like, even just the stages in life that we're at. Like, you have a child, and I'm very much childless, and it's like just. So the end goal was filling the spot that's me shaped online, and then putting together a autistic adult kind of life skills university type thing. That's obviously not what it's going to be called.
Oh.
So that's what I'm working on as well. That's kind of it. I'm dabbled in like building a community. So I had a forum a while ago that I couldn't manage at the time, and like learned a lot from it. But I also want to make sure. So I don't know if anyone else dabbled in online courses, but there's a difference between ones where you're given. The way I learn is I need someone on my shoulder. Like, I need someone to give me like deadlines, and even if it's something that I want to do. So I joined one for blogging when I thought I wanted to be a blogger, and they'd release content every month, but you just work through it at your own pace. So we were on month like 9, and I still hadn't done the work from month 1. It was like, I need either a battle buddy, so like someone to work with, or we're all working through this at the same time, and there's like mini deadlines, and you come back and you review. So because that's the level of care and like demand that would be like placed on me for this like like life skills uni type thing, I just want to make sure it's right before I put it out there, and also have an audience, which I think there will be growing quite a lot on Instagram at the minute, which is crazy, but also again sign that there's a need, because the things that everyone else is struggling with are the things that I'm struggling with. So I can just kind of model the course of my life. But then it's like, how do you price it? Oh, the reason I started all this is because the big organizations that love to run their courses are really expensive. Like, it'd be like £200 for half a day. First of all, I probably can't even sit through half a day. Second of all, like, I'm unemployed going to a session about getting a job. Where do you think I'm getting £200 from?
Well, this is the thing, because I went to certain organizations' websites for doing some research, and they're like, oh, 85% of autistic adults are unemployed. And I'm like, okay,
that's wrong.
It's wrong. But also, like, if you think everybody's unemployed, where do you think they're getting the money from for
the courses and the sessions and stuff? Yeah. So I'm just trying to, I'm like, back up my mind is thinking of the business side of how we're going to price it and do all that stuff, and then front of my head's working on what like modules they're going to be, platforms it's going to be on. And so that's kind of like this is the thing. Like, I've had people message me like, well, I say people, like 2 like asking like, oh, what's your PayPal, like we want to like just like help you, like support you in your content and stuff. And I'm like, the reason I've held back on just like asking for anything is because when that launches, and I know that that's going to help people as well, like that's what's going to like be my way of like not only making money online, but giving something very valuable in return for it.
But I think you also shouldn't, like, if people want to donate.
Oh, if they offer, oh God, I send over. But it's just I've never put it out there. But what else? There was another thing on that.
So what do you think, now that you've reached your funding goal for the GoFundMe, which I'll stick up again for anyone who hasn't seen it, what do you think, what was I going to say? Oh my God. It's getting
next to Black and ND?
No, not what's next. What's your time frame for it? Like, so what's going to be the first thing that happens, and like, what's your plan for that?
The first thing will be the intro to insert neurodiversity, like ones for different ones. So, but I also, whilst I'm working on that, I'm going to put together online meetups for neurodiverse people who were already diagnosed. There was a lot of talk on Twitter of someone doing something, but no one had done anything. So
Yeah.
I volunteered as tribute. I'm going to get that done so that they'll be done throughout July whilst I'm working on this. Because I don't want to, whether I launch it tomorrow or launch it next week, the need's going to be the same. So I'd rather just do it right than rush it.
Yeah.
And like, it's kind of like there's two halves of me. There's one half that's like, right, people have given you the money. Come on, you need to do something. You need to get it done, get it out there. And the other half of me is like, if you rush this, you could waste this.
Yeah.
And like not help as many people as you potentially could. Like, and so I'm just like battling myself.
But if to something like that, I kind of expect, well, it'll probably be like at least 3 to 6 months before it,
time. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, glad you've said that, because that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's how I feel about something like that. I don't expect the person to just like, here's the money and turn that into a thing. Like it takes time and effort. And if it's just you working on it, like, are you looking for volunteers, by the way? Or
for
to help
at the minute, no. I had a bit of an issue. I put up a post on LinkedIn and no, it was just like basically looking back now at what happened, I can see why it happened. So I put up a post just explaining the like concept of Black and Indie. And at that time, the grants weren't, I'd thought about it, but I wasn't sure. So I hadn't said anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said that I need a bit of a mentor who's worked on organising workshops and, it's a post you've seen, organising workshops and stuff like that. Because I've done it before, but not in this kind of way.
Yeah.
And then people were just all over it. And bear in mind, I'd explained what Black and Indie was, who it was helping, and like that type of thing. The types of people that came forward were clearly just feeling a lot of white guilt. And I was like, that's okay, but you also need to see that you can't help in this situation, and sometimes that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, and I had a lot of like Zoom meetings with people, and it was just like wastes of time. Like, and I was just like, realized that I need to kind of be a bit more. It needs to be a value exchange and not just them feeling good for doing something. Like, I also need to get the help that I actually need. Now that I've got a clearer idea of what that is, I found one person who's like, no, it's like, it's a good connection. But at that point, when we had our meeting, she was the last person I spoke with. And she's like, so you mentioned you wanted a mentor. Yeah. She's like, you mentioned you wanted a mentor. And I was like, not anymore. Not anymore. I'd rather just have someone that I can like ask questions to here and there. And she was like, yeah, I totally understand. But
it's also like when you're looking for volunteers, sometimes people come to you and they're like, how can I help? And you're like, I don't know.
What can you do?
Come to me and tell me how you can help me, because you want somebody who is just as passionate. They're not just like looking for you to tell them what to do. You need somebody now to form your core team. So no, I mean, like I set up that summer camp organization about over 10 years ago now. And so I kind of like know what it's like to be, well, in my early 20s and trying to set up something with no clue. But no, I'm not saying you've got no clue, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Just
like, you don't know what's out there, like what's possible. My biggest thing at the minute is like not knowing what things cost. And like I did price up what the assessments and stuff cost, but Band as an organization has the idea for it was to run personal development workshops, and that side of it needs to be self-sustainable. Like I don't want to have to ask for donations for that, because I want it to be a long-term type of thing. Like so that we'll have kind of a membership model and like regular events and like venues and like health and safety. Like there's lots that's going to happen in there. But big job, big tasks, but
I know. It's ambitious though, and like you've got the energy. I feel like this is something that I like just would not be able to do. But it's like different times.
Summer camp.
Different times of our lives. I'm pro sleep and just concentrating on videos right now, because like I can do that. don't need to leave the house. And, let's have a look. This is an interesting one. Questions to both of you. Is there anything we can do for your channels? I mean, for people who don't have the means to support financially, but want to support more than just giving a like to the video.
A comment.
Yeah, exactly. Any shares? Yeah, the engagement thing, it's become a YouTube cliche that everyone's like, smash that like button. But that's how YouTube, watch time, likes, comments, engagement.
If you've got ad block on, turn it off.
Yeah.
That's just tell people about it. Like, what else do I like? Cross-platform promotion does really well. Likes, comments, watch time. You've said all this, yeah.
But like not just on YouTube as well. Like, well, I only just set up a Facebook page because, well, I'm not going to get into that, but like I was annoyed at having to do it, basically. But like, if you post something on Facebook, 10 people see it. If those 10 people don't like or comment, like they don't show it to anyone else. So it's like the algorithm only pushes things that people engage with. So
yeah.
That's why the kind of like, yeah.
That's why you see so many carousels on Instagram, for anyone who's wondering. That's why accounts that carousel a lot grow quickly.
Is that that's a good tip. Top tip.
Oh yeah, we'll do an IG session another time. No, like me and you another time if you're interested. But yeah, I could go on about Instagram forever. I won't.
Maybe we should do another one on Instagram. Another live.
Okay. Well, this is the thing. I meant to. I need to reach me. I need to send this email. Do social media like awareness, but for autistic people and autistic young people. Just this time talking more about kids. Sounds like demeaning, but I don't mean kids as in like toddlers. I mean like school-age children. Yeah, so young people. Just understanding social, because if you've got parents that don't, and then you've got your kid there crying, like they just need to know how to manage being online. Which is something that you just, again, it's a different, it's called social media, and there is a lot of social demand that comes on being online. So
there's a lot of unwritten rules as well.
Yeah.
Which is why I find it very uncomfortable when people are like, oh, but you don't follow this person. I'm like, I don't know. Was I supposed to follow this person because they commented? Or like, am I supposed to like, all these rules of, I guess, social media etiquette. I get really stressed out by it. And like, I cannot deal with so much. Like for me, social media is noise because you get all the comments and then it's like, you get all these messages and it's like, we're autistic. We can't we don't have the capacity to do all of that. Yeah. So
that's the thing, that it's changing your perspective. Is that, what's the word? Yeah, perspective or view of how you see social media. So I have like even you've got your Facebook page now and you've got your personal profile. So just don't check your page until you're doing Yosemite Sam stuff. Just check it for that hour and then that's it. Like it's just setting the boundaries within yourself. And like, yeah, I think as well with social media, because it makes it seem like you've got a constant connection with this person. Like, yeah, sometimes I've felt that I also need to like reply immediately and like, and I do try and reply to every comment, but it might end up being 2 weeks from when you commented. Like, yeah, if we don't have a relationship where you can call me, that says something as to what the expectation should be as to the promptness of my reply. Like, I'm not your in case of emergency, so this is not necessary. There's no point in me.
That's something I find really hard, is that people use me as kind of like a therapist, and
you're too nice. I've set that boundary.
I mean, the problem is, though, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to reply to it in a way that's not just like, because I go from being like, oh, I'm going to really help this person to just like, I am done with you. So like, I have to not reply, because if I start replying to people, I'll get this tone where I just sound really irritated. And there was a point, I can't remember, I was really overwhelmed. I got loads and loads and loads of messages in 1 week. And I just thought, I cannot reply because at the moment, I hate everybody. And all these people are emailing me because they've seen my videos and they like what I say. And I feel really terrible. But it's like, I need to, boundary setting. You seem to be better at that than I am.
No, I don't. This is the thing. Like, I don't get anywhere near as many messages as you do because of the vibe I give off.
Like, because I'm too nice, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I said when you were too nice. I don't mean in the fact that you reply, because the messages I do get most of the time, I do reply.
Videos.
I don't get many. Yeah. Like, you come across as someone that you can, like, let me just ask you a message.
Tell me your problems. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, this is the information. Do what you want with it. There you go.
But people really like write very, very long and in quite a lot of detail, like about their lives. And that's the thing, is that people who are talking to me are autistic, and social rules. And so there's boundaries that are, to me, obvious, but not obvious to
because of the stand you're on. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's difficult sitting here complaining. It's so hard to be a YouTuber.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that you don't want to. It's because if I was to then put myself in their position and I gave, wait, this is going to be complicated. If I received the message that I would send if I wasn't in like a good, oh no, it's too complicated. I can't explain it. So, okay, well, I'll do it as me and you. So if you were a person who sent me a message, explained like half your life, and then I was in not a good mood or not in a place where I could receive your trauma, essentially, then I'm not going to give a reply that you deserve. Yeah, as a person, and as a person that exists, it's not a reply that you deserve. But as a person in the position of my life and the fact that I don't know you, the fact that I can't deal with what you've given me at this time, and you haven't put any thought into how I might be, not saying that, like, actually, I am, like, not put any thought into the position that I might be in, the fact that this is a one-to-many medium, like, so it's just one person speaking to a load. So the fact that I'm going to receive more back and there's not much connection going that way, it's more this way. Like, I just, I lost my point, but there were loads of little points in there.
Yeah, the receiving trauma thing is interesting as well, because I never thought of it like that, but that's what it is.
That's why it's so draining, because you're thinking back to what you've been through.
God, I just soak it all up. But I'm really sorry to everybody who sent me nice emails, and I've just been too overwhelmed. And it's difficult. And I guess this is a 35K celebration live, so it makes sense to talk about these issues as you grow. But it's one thing to be like, you know, YouTubers who are growing their audience. It's another thing to also be autistic on top of that. And so it's tricky. Somebody has pointed out, and I feel really bad now, I guess the thing is that we have difficulty making friends, and because of the videos we feel like we know you and forget that you don't know us. And that's true, you know. And like, the thing is, I probably would be your friend in real life, you know.
See, like, this is where you go wrong. This is where you go wrong.
In real life. In real life. That's on the internet. I have my internet friends. Yeah, this is my problem. I want to be friendly to everyone. You're right. Okay. Who do I go to work on my boundary issues? Tyla's got no time for this. But the thing is, though, I meet so many nice people through my channel, and like my Discord server, like everybody there is so nice.
That's the thing, because you give so much of your time. That's what you could do. Just say, join my Discord. I'm there all the time. Sorry, I can't reply to your email. Then you're not going to not be in contact with them.
And now I've started getting messages saying, do you have a free option for your Discord? I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah. I'm finding it. I'm finding the whole thing hard to deal with. And I think the way that will make it easier is by maybe just writing down things, writing down ways to deal with it. Start with that. Or just talking to my psychologist, you know. Right.
There's a question before that was like, from Alex H. He was like, how do YouTubers with executive functioning difficulties managed to keep up. Yeah, that one. Do you want to go? Because I've wondered that I don't have a schedule. You get content when I've made it.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to say superstitious because I'm not really superstitious, but I'm sort of like, it bothers me if I don't do something on the Friday because I feel like Friday is my day and then I've got the weekend for everyone to watch
It's
it.
your routine.
It's my routine. Yeah, exactly. So but I do struggle to keep to it. So
that's, go on. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
I know I was actually just about to think. I'm not.
Okay.
I don't know.
But so that's the thing on autistic routine though. Like sometimes it's not easy to stick to, but I originally, when I first heard like autistic people stick to routines, this is when I was diagnosed. I just thought, oh, so I must have this inbuilt program that I'll just align to. But it's not. It's not. It just means, well, for me, it just means that whatever I do, no matter how much stress it will cause me, I will do anything to stick to my routine.
Yeah.
So that maybe, I think my kind of semi-rule, I don't think it's part of a routine yet, is like a video a week. So when I had the podcast going up and I was making videos, the rule was a video. So I could get away with it just being the podcast one week. Moving forward, my whole life's about to completely change. So I think I'll have a bit more structure in place, which means I can stick to video creation without relying on motivation and relying on all the things that we struggle with because of having executive function difficulties. Just not relying on myself.
Yeah, I think because now that I've been doing YouTube for coming up to a year and a half now, I think, well, I could have very easily decided I'm going to do 2 videos a week and give myself burnout, but I was, well, sensible and decided not to do that because I'm learning about autistic burnout and I'm like, okay, yes, I could do that, but I shouldn't.
What's it going to be worth?
Yeah. So at the moment, I kind of plan my content like every now and then. I'll plan like 2 or 3 months of content. I'll get all my ideas. I'll be like, okay, well, I want like something kind of executive functioning. I want what do I call it on my labels? Bread and butter content, like, you know, good, solid, middle of the road autism content. Then I want an interview and a live. So I try and spread it out that there's lots of different things going on. So then I create that plan. And I kind of work backwards from there. At the moment, the thing that I struggle with is that, well, not anymore, but until recently, I've had 2 mornings a week where my child has been out of the house. That's 6 hours total, where I would have to do not just all my filming where I need it to be quiet, but all my really concentrating work. And that's the thing that I struggle with. You know, parenthood has its difficulties, but it's like trying to plan not just working from home, but literally like my office is not set up. I have an organizer coming next week to help me sort it out. Like I don't have the space to film. So I'm like, oh, in my bedroom some days, but then the sun is too far. So the sun is way too hot. And it's just, So the very long answer is,
it's difficult.
It's difficult. And maybe I make it seem easier than it is.
I think like every YouTuber kind of has, because everyone, I think it's because of the medium it is. You just think, oh, you set up a camera and you talk. Yeah. Like, okay, I kind of do, but the edit, the edit, it depends on how much time you want to go into it. And even just the pre-stages, which is like picking what to talk about. Yeah. And sitting down and constantly talking, which even though it's just a camera, I find really draining. So I can only film.
You're performing. You're not talking. You are like it's a stage. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No. Like everything you said was spot on. Like I can only do 1 video at a time, and I wish, especially when it's ones where, because most of my video setups kind of just look like this. Like I'm just sat down in my room and I'm talking. Nothing fancy. No like mad edits or anything. But as in like B-roll. But I can't do 2 of those a day, and if I could. Like that'd make my whole life easier. I love batching tasks, but that's one that I just can't batch. And especially, so this week's video I was supposed to do about calendar blocking, but I put it off all week because I didn't want to calendar block. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. So it's now ended up being a vlog, which is like something I don't mind doing, but that takes longer to edit. And I didn't have that time in my schedule. I had the time to edit a calendar blocking video. So it's like, if you can either go with the flow, which is kind of what I'm doing at the minute, where you can force yourself to stick to a routine and like stick to your plans. But then at some point, I kind of feel like if I do sticking to plans and like making this here, do this, then I'm going to fall out of love with it, and it's going to become a pressure and demand, and I don't need another one of those in my life.
Yeah. And I think that's why I've been trying, like, I have stopped myself feeling guilty when I need to take breaks. I'm just like, I'm taking a break this week. You guys, all deal, because at the end of the day, I don't think that I'm that important to anyone's life, and you make it into this big thing, like you have to keep going. And actually, no, it's good to take a break sometimes. Just reset, like do something that isn't just talking about autism and
The thing is, like, the long-term cost of you not taking a break is bigger than the impact of you taking a break. So
yeah. And I think that for me, I've kind of worked out that like every 3 months or so, I'm going to need to take a couple of weeks just to whatever. But that was a good comment. I think executive functioning is something that I have got a little mini series coming up over the next 3 months, because I'm partnering with Timo, that probably heard other influencers talking about recently. So I've got next week's video, which is kind of like a sponsored video, and then I have 2 more executive functioning. So that's something that I'm really starting to try and work on now that I have come to terms with my probable ADHD, because I think that's something that when you talk about like your routines that you're sticking to, I'm just like, but how do you even do that? Because I want to stick to routines. It makes me feel happy, but then I've got this like stuff going on over here so I can't. And it's like, there's 2 sides of me that are constantly in conflict. And I sort of feel like I've done a lot of reflection on this, and I feel like that makes way more sense that I would have ADHD as well. So
does just a question from me. Does having that knowledge or awareness, like, how does that make you feel?
Weirdly enough, like more vulnerable, because I was going to do autism videos because before my diagnosis, and I'm like, no, I'm going to wait for the diagnosis, because I just knew that the comments would come being like, you look normal, you don't look autistic. I'm like, okay, I need that piece of paper or digital file telling me, not that I'm going to show it to anyone, but like I just need to be like, no, you guys, like this isn't right. And so, but of course I'm like, I want everybody to self-identify how they feel, but then there is the question of me being on a platform and saying, yeah, I have ADHD, and that it feels weird to me, even though if it was just me in real life, I probably would just be happier. So there's a lot of pressure. It feels like there's a lot of responsibility on me to do the right thing in terms of, using the right language and saying things in the right way. And I'll probably burn out massively in a couple of years and just like go off the radar for 6 months or something. But
by that time you'll be a millionaire and have your own private island, so it's fine.
Yeah, or like a bunker, and we'll be in nuclear apocalypse. No, that's how I'm
Where's Sam? I have her coordinates, but that is it. Like, no one knows where this place is.
Let's see. Oh, got loads more. Executive function. Queen used to be a lot. I don't understand. I think some of these are chatting with each other, and so that I don't.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find another question. This one says, do you have a job besides YouTube? I am a full-time mother, a part-time YouTuber, and a part-time administrative assistant for the company that I run with my husband. So I think however many hours a week that adds up to is a lot. But I don't go to an office, if that's what you mean, or go to another place of work. But yeah. YouTube isn't exactly like a steady income that people think it might be. You know, like views go up, views go down, and it's like you can't really rely on it. So no, I don't know. Did I answer that? Motherhood
Yeah,
is
fully.
hours.
Yeah, you did.
Like 7, well, sometimes 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. You know, that's an important job as well. You know, raising the next generation. Your face, you're like, oh no, oh, don't like it.
I maybe it'll happen, maybe it'll come, but like they want a lot from you.
Yeah, they do. They need a lot from you.
Yeah.
And I've got a not annoying one. Like mine still annoys me sometimes, but compared to other kids, I was just at the playground. Kids are a nightmare.
Yeah,
I like mine.
I want one, but I don't, like, not now, but I don't know if it's because like I don't want to be like left out, or if because I actually want one. So I mean, I guess when the time comes. But
may I give you some advice as an old wise woman?
Yes, please do.
Haggard in my age, quickly approaching. I'm not even going to say. What was I going to give you advice on? Children. Be sure you want them before you have them.
Yeah.
You got to be sure. You know.
No, definitely.
If you're not sure, it's going to be a nightmare.
The amount of time I spend picking out a pair of trainers, I can tell you, I will spend years thinking about whether it's the right thing to do or not.
And wait until you have to buy trainers for yourself and another person, and then their feet are growing, and you're like, well, how do I know what size foot you've got now? Do I have to order it from online, or do I have to go over here? And do they have really the best quality shoes for children's foot development? And it's like these thoughts are constant, you know, and that's just shoes. They have clothes as well. And it's like, okay, these clothes from Zara may be cheap, but is it right to be
sustainable
other people's kids in you know, the developing countries where they're made? And so it's like it's like never ending kind of worrying and thinking. And
I just don't want my kid to get bullied, and I just know the way I'm going to raise it, it's going to get bullied.
Yeah,
I would bully my child.
Autistic, then that raises the likelihood as well, regardless of what you do or how you raise it.
True.
You know,
but I'm just very like, even when I look out, because I've got a, how old is he? 9-year-old little brother. So even when I was like looking after him, sometimes I just let him do it, not let him do whatever he wants, like, obviously within reason, but if someone else was watching me with him, they'd like question everything, like the way I'd look after him. And I'm just like, he is not causing himself or anybody else any harm, and he's not doing anything technically wrong. Let him be free. So I'm just like, I am not the mum you want to bring down to school, because if you're telling me my kid's done something, like I'm backing them till day. Like, I just don't think I'm responsible enough to have a child yet.
Well,
or I don't.
You grow into it as well. You know, you don't. People might disagree with me. You don't become a mother the minute you get a baby handed to you. Like, it took me a while to kind of grow into it and like realize, because like autistic people not good with change, right? You know, this is kind of a big change. And I did not, throughout my pregnancy, I didn't feel very connected. And like I was happy to be pregnant, you know, it was very much planned and all that, but I wasn't like, oh, my sweet baby, I'm going to take care of you. It was like, I have a parasite in me. And I used to actually, like, you can imagine going to these mums groups or pregnant women's group, and I'm just like, my parasite today, and everyone's looking at me like,
should we let her keep this?
But, you know, I was just explaining things in the language that I knew how. And, you know, nobody can prepare you for having a child. And there's not very much information about being autistic and having a child. There's plenty on autistic children, but autistic parents, you know.
On that little note, one of the no, it's quite related. Just one of the big organizations did a Father's Day special, and the position they took was talking to neurotypical parents, neurotypical fathers of autistic children.
That's just
This is my issue.
Yeah, there's plenty of autistic fathers out there. Plenty.
Yeah.
You know, and it's difficult for them as well, I think, you know.
So why not champion and cheer them on this Father's Day? No. We'll just go for the ones that have, we'll go for the neurotypical ones that have autistic children. And how many connotations, like what the underlying tone of that is, that I've got from it is, your fatherhood's difficult because you have an autistic child. It's different, and that sometimes it's more difficult. Fair enough. But we should like lift up the people that you claim to be trying to help.
Yeah. And also, like, I don't know, it's difficult because on the one hand, you know, being a parent to any child is difficult.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's like, you know, it's really, really difficult to be an autistic parent. And I'm like, if the sensory point of view alone, the executive functioning point of view, it's tough, and it's caused, you know, a lot of, like, I've had like 2 meltdowns in my pre-motherhood life. Like in my whole life, I had 2, what I can now look back on and say that was a meltdown. Since having a child, I've probably had like, I don't know, between 5 and 10, that's in 3 years compared to the last. And, you know, it's tough. Yeah. I don't know. You're just like, yeah, don't want to do it. Don't want to do it.
I'm just like, yeah, this is what this is what things I need to consider. Like, because at the time I have a child, like I'm going to have everything else, like, well, the word of what I used to patterned, but like sorted, so that that change, like if I'm not, I don't have to be at 100%, but if I'm not at a good 70 to 80, then bringing in that whole new change, which is going to like be difficult, like it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be fair on me or the child. Like they're not going to get a mum that they deserve because I will put them in a room.
But I think that like the knowledge of being autistic puts you in a position to be able to arrange your life in such a way that you can cope, you know. Like, knowing that you're autistic, and then because I didn't know before I had the child, I didn't know I was autistic. So I was like, why am I struggling talking to the midlives, communicating with them? Why am I struggling with this and that? And like now I'm in a position where like if I were to have another child, I would be like, okay, I'm autistic. I don't understand when you talk to me about this stuff. I need you to tell me this. It's not going to work you saying, call us if you have any problems, because I'll be like, I will never.
What problems? Yeah.
What problems are we talking about here? You know, you need to be specific. And also, you know, just like, it just helps so much. And I look back on the year, well, it was just before I was diagnosed, when I had a small baby, planning a wedding, which is also, by the way, a nightmare, and don't do it, anyone, because it's so stressful. And like, I almost basically had a breakdown with that wedding. And we also moved house that year.
What? So why did you do that to yourself? Oh, that's hard for a neurotypical person.
It was just how it had to be at the time. I mean, in hindsight, probably could have, I don't know, maybe push the wedding back a little bit, but it was just, it all happened at once, and it was a really, really bad idea. They compiled a list of oh my God, that's Dutch. Why am I speaking Dutch? They compiled a list of stressful life events. I don't know who compiled this, like psychologists, I guess. And, you know, like things like moving a house. Oh my God, I'm getting tired now. Moving house, and, you know, like a divorce, a death in the family, all of these kind of things. And viewers should Google it. Just search for like most stressful life events. There's a score, and you can add it up and see like what you've done over the last year or something. Like, how stressful is your year? I mean, this is before Corona, so anyway, I cannot remember my point.
You did 3 of the 7. I think it's a list of 7. Like you did 3 of the stressful things in a really short period of time.
Exactly. That was my point. And
I got you, don't worry.
Yeah. It's 10 o'clock now actually here, which means it's like officially past my bedtime. Oh my gosh, I'm just,
I thought I'd be healthy and I bought fruit, and now there is fruit flies all over the place.
I
think there's only two, but are annoying.
Somebody just commented on my Discord, wonder if our dialects haven't merged a bit. Isn't that what we always do? Like, is your accent becoming, like, our accents are becoming...
Essentially. Well, this is the thing, because I have people in my life who speak like you do, so I wouldn't be surprised if I've just slipped into... But then that's also... this is a quick thing. I think we're going to wrap it up soon. But there's this thing between autistic mask. Wait, what I'm talking about is the Black autistic experience, and everyone knows what masking is, or like has some understanding of it. But then there's also this thing called code switching. Mm-hmm. So I speak very differently around white people than I do like my family, or just like the environment that I'm in. And it's not me, like part of it I've now realized isn't actually masking, it's code switching, which is just trying to pass and fit in based on race, and not because like I was trying to speak to my cousin the other day, and the way he texts, it's not his like I don't understand him. It's very like roadman to like really street, I guess you'd say. And okay. I don't speak like that, but my family do. And they all understand each other, but I can't speak to them because I've not been socialized in that way. Like I went to predominantly white schools. A lot of my friends are white. So the way that I text is like a white person. Like it's different. Yeah. So like even just the slang that I use, like they'll message me and be like, "Oh, what's up, cuz?" And I'm just like, "Hi, how are you today?" Like,
so you don't find yourself code switching with them in that way?
I can't because I can't now match what they're saying. I kind of think I'm in the middle, but I'm actually too far away from where they are. But if it comes to different, there are some Black people that I can speak with because they also like they might be able to communicate the way that my family do, but they can meet me where I am, in the sense of when I'm a bit, I don't know what's the word I want to say, but then because I've been doing it for so long, I've kind of lost the ability, like it's language that's now lost in me and understanding that I don't have anymore because I've been in predominantly white settings for years. I've socialized in that way. Then it's like now, because when you discover that you are masking, that's a whole little thing that you've got to work out and just find where you are. Well, not you have to, but you just kind of start doing like, who am I? And then now I've got the issue of tied to my race. Like I'm a white passing Black person. So where's my Blackness? Why can I call myself Black? Well, obviously I can, but it's like the internal, like I'm not like my community in some ways. And it's just I'm the thing, and it's just not fun.
Do you feel like the autism inside you? That sounds very much like you. Do you feel like that has a really big impact on your ability to feel like part of a community in that way? Or do you think that there is something else?
I think it has more of a impact on my ability to relearn, or just like learn, I guess, because I never learned that way of communicating, socializing. So it'd be me learning another socializing way of me learning another way of socializing, and it's taken me so long to pick up enough of this one to pass and get by. To like to learn another one, you're asking a lot of me. Sure. But it's just that I've learned a mix of a Black and white way.
Yeah.
Like,
that makes sense. I've just got a super chat in from Alif Mohammed. Is there a way to diagnose autism without the fear of it being easily ruled out as a myriad of other disorders? Asking as a therapist. That's a difficult question, actually. autism is extremely similar in presentation to a big variety of things, including but not limited to CPTSD, ADHD, bipolar, borderline, personality disorder,
just depression
and anxiety. Autistic burnout can really mimic depression, but it isn't the same thing. So is there a way to diagnose it without the fear of it being easily ruled out? Well, it depends. Yeah, it depends where you're getting that kind of fear from. I mean, like, there are good diagnosticians and there are bad diagnosticians. There are people who will listen to your experiences, and you saying that you feel that this fits much better than this. Some people will listen to you and they'll take that into account when making the diagnosis. And some people will be like, well, I don't see autism in you, so you probably have BPD or something like that. So I don't know if I've answered that very well. Do you have anything to add to that?
I feel like the one thing I would add that makes autism distinct to my understanding of all those other conditions that you listed is the social aspect and how someone will view their position in the world. So a lot of the autistic people I've spoken to, and my experience as well, is that some people liken themselves to aliens. I liken myself to being in a bubble. Like, I get that I exist on this world, and I get that I can see everyone, I can hear everyone, but it feels like there's something between us that's not quite right. So if someone's saying that they either don't have friends and they're things like that, like the social things, that's what the difference would be between that and those other conditions for me.
Yeah. But it's difficult though, because when you see, especially when you look at ADHD in girls, a lot of the descriptions say, oh, typically doesn't have many friends, kind of thing, for inattentive type, something like that. So it's like, yeah, it's really tricky to kind of unravel it, because.
But then it would be, sorry.
Well, no, just we have, it's people's own descriptions of their internal experience, isn't it? That's how we diagnose.
And then if you're asking someone who's also alexithymic, has alexithymia, to identify their feelings, you're asking a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it's I could understand why it's misdiagnosed, but at the same time, we need to be doing more research to work out how we can diagnose it more accurately. And
honestly, if they could be diagnosed by brain scan, which I think, as far as I can understand, there is enough of a neurological difference between autistic brains and non-autistic brains that should theoretically be possible, and that would be better, or at least a screener or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a brain twister for after 2 hours of being alive. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
Nothing on that one. It's
that's the thing. There's social stuff that you said you were in a bubble, and I was going to say, can't remember.
Bit of a difference between you and other people. You're a bit like this, trying to see through. But.
Yeah, I've always, this isn't entirely about autism, but I've always felt like I was kind of detached from my body a little bit. I've always related, this is probably the weirdest thing I've said all evening, I've always related to being a bit of a brain in a jar kind of thing, so I don't really understand my place in the world.
Please expand. No, sorry, I'm gonna need you to explain that one.
I feel like there must be, among my viewers out there, somebody who understands what I mean by this, and I am waiting for this comment right now. No, I just I feel how do I take this off? This one, brain in a jar. How am I going to explain this? I have now painted myself into a corner with that one.
No, no, I can't even say I think I get it. I don't.
Okay, I don't know whether this is less about autism, more about maybe gender presentation and stuff, because people, I do not understand the whole idea of gender. It has been explained to me. I have tried to research it, and people explain this is the difference between sex and gender. I'm like, but what is gender? And so I don't really get it. And the reason that I've come to realize is like, I just don't have any concept of how my body is in relation to how others perceive it, you know? So like for me, I feel very much more like I am not a human. I am a brain in a jar or something.
Okay, I get you now. Okay.
This isn't about me. This is this is a meat sack, you know? Like,
okay, yeah.
I identify as a meat sack. I don't know. This has got to strange places. We've been doing 2 hours, guys. This is like this is a bit of a marathon. Do you think we should wrap this up? Oh, somebody said brain in a jar. Hold on. Your brain in a jar. Your body's just a weird lump that you happen to have to drag around with you. Yes, and it's a pain. Okay. It is a pain. I know who this person is in real life, by the way. So I'm not
jars together.
I'm not surprised that we have on the same wavelength. One of my on the Discords just said I'm a brain in a statue, and I think that's like kind of funny. It's kind of the same thing. Anyway, you are looking more and more like confused by me. So
I forget that like my face really says what I'm thinking. I'm just like,
yeah. And I'm like picking up on vibes, and then the more that you do that, I'm like panicking. Oh my god. So anyway, I am amazed there is still 179 people watching. That's really cool that you guys came to say hi and ask questions. I'm sorry we didn't get through all of the questions by any means. And I'm really so grateful that you came to talk about your organization and your GoFundMe. One last time.
Oh, thank you.
It is, let's see how many donations we've got. You know, I'm a bit obsessive about I like checking things. Oh, you've made £250 since we started. So
whoa.
I don't know if that was all my doing. I'll take the credit for that.
We'll say it is.
Yeah. But thank you so much thank you for the work that you do, because like I've been watching your Instagram, like you are educating people. I think you're probably educating a lot of white people who need to hear it, myself included. Like, so, you know, you're doing great work. And I just feel like you should get some credit for that, you know, because it's been, I imagine, a difficult few weeks for you. So hope you're taking care of yourself as well, you know.
I've not even, this is the thing, I would love, like, I know that the level of self-care that, well, my understanding of like the level of self-care that autistic people need to do isn't the bubble baths and the face masks and stuff. But I really just want to I've kind of been keeping on top of that, turning my phone off here and there, like making sure I'm eating and stuff like that. Yeah. But I want a bubble bath day. Like I want to do a face mask and I want to do all this stuff. I don't have the time at the minute. Like just the way, because I'm like, everything's just messing up at the same time. So I just need to try and keep my life together. And then once I've moved, got a job. Well, I mean, I'll probably have a bubble bath before I get a job.
I think you should. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But
yeah. So
I'm here.
Thank you for taking the time out of your clearly busy schedule to come and talk to all of us. And good luck with the move and with all your other projects. And maybe we'll do like a live together on Instagram or something.
Yes, I'm starting to do those again once my life's not like this. So yes, we will definitely do one. That'll be fun.
Well, take care.
There'll be a lot more swearing because there's no monetization. Hey.
That'd be so cool to be able to just
say whatever.
People will be shocked at the level of swearing that anyway, it was so great to have everybody watching, and I'm sorry that we were barely keeping up with the comments, but you know how it is. I'm probably gonna go have a bubble bath now, glass of wine.
I'm gonna have my dinner.
Oh, dinner. All right, you go eat, I'll go
All right, thank you.
See you guys next week, and I'll talk to you soon, Tyler.
See you, bye.
Bye. End broadcast.